It's almost accidental that the Russians have managed to stop this tank. It is of no great consequence, especially as the crew has survived, and will not affect the counter-offensive in any way at all. The armour of a Challenger 2, ostensibly it's a ceramic layered armour. It's highly secret. It's designated Dorchester armour, and it's designed to withstand any armoured-piercing tank round that the Russians have, and even their very latest ones. So we would be very surprised to see a Challenger 2 or even a Leopard 2 taken off the battlefield by Russian tank action. They also are protected against anti-tank guided missiles with what we call bar armour. And they also now have protection against drones. So the Challenger 2s in particular are very, very well protected tank. The British have always made tanks with protection being a key element to their capabilities. And that is why we're seeing very few Western tanks being damaged and taken off the battlefield. Conversely, Russian tanks are being destroyed in their thousands, and certainly even the Ukrainian Russian tanks are not lasting, are not nearly as durable as the Western tanks on the battlefield. The damaged and destroyed Challenger 2 is something that should not worry us overtly. Number one, the crew survived. I understand that the Challenger 2 drove over a mine. That disabled the tank, but didn't damage the personnel who managed to escape and evacuate themselves. I believe the plan was to come and recover the tank a bit later on. But in the interim, a loitering munition, a sort of a drone with a weapon on it, coincidentally was in the area, hit the tank, and those are then the pictures we saw of a lot of smoke billowing out of it. So it appears that the tank has been quite badly damaged inside, although the main structure and everything else is still in good order. So it can probably still be pulled back to the rear and worked on, and at some stage get back into place. But I think we need to put it a little bit into perspective. Despite the fact the Russians, literally from the top downwards, are shouting about this as being such a great success. First of all, it's almost accidental that the Russians have managed to stop this tank. Certainly any of their armoured piercing rounds from their own tanks would have had little impact on it. And when we consider this is one Challenger 2 that has been taken off the battlefield for a time, when the Russians, conservative estimates are over 4,000 tanks have been destroyed, but who knows? So it's not surprising to those who look at the Ukraine war in detail that the Russians are trying to make some sort of political gain out of this. But quite frankly, it is of no great consequence, especially as the crew has survived, and will not affect the counter-offensive in any way at all.